Okay, Izzet Blitz, match 1. We're on the draw, and this is a pretty bad hand. We have 4 lands, no creatures, and our only card draw spell is Gitaxian Probe, which is not card selection, it's just cantrips. So I think we're going to mulligan and try to look for a creature. Alright, this hand is possibly better. We need to draw a mountain basically immediately. If we draw island, we can gush and try to look for some more cards. I think I'm going to keep this. Probably scry any land to the top. Alright, Kiln Fiend, can't draw that. Alright, our opponent's on Tron, and they have a turn 1 map. So if they have another different Tron piece next turn, then they'll have Tron on turn 3. Alright, they cast a Prism. Alright, we found the only thing that possibly is as good as a land almost, which is a Preordain. This can help us find a land. Mountain plus Evolving Wilds. So do we want both of these or only one? I think because of the Nivix Cyclops we want both of them, and also because of the Gush we want both of them. So we'll take the mountain first so we can play it and pass the turn. Our opponent has a Seagate Oracle. They still have not found their second Tron piece, so once they found the second one, then they can crack the expedition map for the third. But that's going to be at least 2 turns from now. We're going to play Kiln Fiend with no protection, unfortunately, and plan on cracking this Evolving Wilds for an island on their end step. Alright, Ancient Stirrings. See what our opponent reveals. Ulamog's Crusher. That's not a problem, unless they have a second Tron piece here. Chainer's Edict. Well, that's quite unfortunate. So our opponent has Ulamog's Crusher in hand. Presumably doesn't have the second Tron piece because they played a second tower there instead. So they're not playing Crusher next turn, but maybe the turn afterward. Our opponent's only on 4 lands, so I think I'm going to play this Nivix Cyclops. They can't flashback Chainer's Edict yet. I don't want to particularly wait on this Nivix Cyclops and then be in danger of them being able to flashback the Edict. Alright, our opponent's going to take this opportunity to crack the map. And if they don't have removal for our Cyclops this turn, then I think that we can win. Opponent plays a Chromatic Sphere. So the way we're going to win on our turn is we're going to Gush, Temur Battle Rage, and then one more thing. If our opponent, if that one more thing is Apostle's Blessing, which it can be, we have the mana for that, we can name blue, and then they can't even block, so we get to hit them for exactly 20. Alright, we'll lead off with Gush. And luckily for us, Tron doesn't typically play instant speed ways to deal with creatures. Their removal spells of choice are Chainer's Edict that some decks splash black for, Flame Slash, Rolling Thunder, Caravec's Torch, that kind of thing. Alright, so now we have 4 mana. So I can Gitaxian Probe to see if the coast is clear. This is a pretty good draw here. Lets us know exactly what we need to do with this Apostle's Blessing. Alright, so our opponent has nothing in hand. Unless they crack the Chromatic Sphere and draw into something, then we're safe to go with this Apostle's Blessing. So what we're going to do first is Temur Battle Rage. We're going to go all the way up to 10. So now we're trampling for 20. But if our opponent blocks, they go to 17. Now we're going to cast Ponder. And now we're safe even if our opponent draws a burn spell off of Chromatic Sphere. It doesn't matter whether we shuffle or not here. and we attack for 26. Our opponent blocks for 3, and then we're good to go. I don't know that there's any burn spell they could have here. They don't have Metalcraft for Galvanic Blast, and Tron doesn't typically play it. They could crack for blue or filter to blue using the Prophetic Prism and have a bounce spell, but they don't typically play bounce spells either. Alright, perfect. We take down game 1. So against Tron, I want a Smash to Smithereens. I don't think I'm going to board in 2. A counter spell in Hydroblast. Hydroblast is good against their removal spells and also their really big spells like Rolling Thunder if I can counter one of those. I'm going to take out a Mutagenic Growth, a Dispel, since their interaction typically isn't instant speed, and a Gut Shot, since they don't really have anything that it hits. This sort of seems like a control matchup where you might want the Stormbound Geist, but once our opponent gets Tron online and starts being able to play Crushers, we're just going to lose the game. So we can't play the long game against them, unfortunately. And I think I'm going to take out one more Dispel for a Pyroblast for hitting Seagate Oracle and Mulldrifter, and submit it like this. Alright, we're on the draw this time. I would prefer to have 2 islands and 1 mountain for the Gush, but we have a creature, we have the Battle Rage, and a Probe, so I think this is keepable. It's not a great hand, but I think it's acceptable. Our opponent leads off with Mine and Star. Okay, we can go find a blue with this. In general, with Gitaxian Probes, you want to save them as long as possible, until you're attacking with Kiln Fiend and Nivix Cyclops that turn. Alright, our opponent is looking for a card and using white mana. Oh, Circle of Protection red. Well, that's an interesting splash. So we do not have Flaring Pain, we did not sideboard it in. So we can either win with Delver of Secrets only, or we can overwhelm our opponent. So if we have multiple creatures and they're both double striking, then this only works the first time for a double striking creature. So if we had a Cyclops and a Kiln Fiend and we'd Battle Raged both, then they would need to have 4 mana up with their Circle of Protection red. So we're going to pinch our opponent on mana by forcing them to hold up in mana for Circle of Protection activations, and hopefully be able to win that way. Because we have the win now in hand next turn if our opponent just taps out with Circle of Protection red. We can go Gitaxian Probe, Gush, Temur Battle Rage, and still have an extra mana, blue mana, available to do whatever we want with. Alright, our opponent plays Prophetic Prism. That's step 1. If they play only 1 land, then we can still hit them for 10. Since they'll only be able to activate Circle once, and our creature will have double strike. Or we can play the Cyclops and pressure our opponent later. I don't think it's correct to burn all our resources to just deal 10 damage, so I'm going to play the Cyclops and pass. And once again, I'm going to see how low our opponent taps down with the Circle of Protection red. I'm going to attack here, there's no real downside to doing it. Prevents our opponent from playing a 1 mana instant that they might have wanted to do instead, even though I don't think they have any. So now we have lethal on board again, even through 1 circle activation. So we can attack for 20 by doing the Gush, Gitaxian Probe, Temur Battle Rage trick and having Hydroblast up. And then when our opponent chooses a creature with Circle, we can Temur Battle Rage the other one and deal 20. So if our opponent taps down to 1 circle activation and no creatures, we have them. Obviously, if they tap out completely of Circle, we also have them. Alright, they're leaving plenty of mana up. Delver of Secrets. Well, that gets around the Circle. So now our question is, do we play 1 spell for the Nivix Cyclops to trigger, to force our opponent to put mana into it? I don't believe so. I'll start off by just attacking with Kiln Fiend. If we lose this game, we do need to bring in Flaring Pain. There's also the potential that our opponent believes that we did board in Flaring Pain, because we're not conceding. and because there's a chance we might have guessed that they would have it. So if they have to play around the fact that we're going to draw Flaring Pain eventually, they have to do something besides just holding open circle activations for forever. They have to assemble Tron so that they'll have enough mana to keep doing that. Doomblade. So I could Gush and try to find a protection spell, but I don't think it's worth it. I really would like this not to happen, but I don't think it's worth getting our mana out of play for a very small chance of drawing something in the top 2 cards. Alright, there's a star. If our opponent does assemble Tron, it's basically game over, since then we can only win with Delveros Secrets. Opponent casts Ancient Stirrings by cracking a star. Power Plant. So they already played their Haunted Fangraph this turn, which they probably should not have done, or they'd have Tron online. But they do not. So they have 2 activations of Circle ready. Okay. Kiln Fiend. So we can't really play a Kiln Fiend and then wait another turn, because once they have Tron online, they can have 3 activations with only 1 land. If we can get both of these creatures able to deal 20 apiece, then 2 Circle of Activations won't do it, because we'll have 4 attacks of 10, 2 per creature with Double Strike. So if we Gush and Gitaxian Probe, and in the top 3 cards we can find another Temur Battle Rage, we could Battle Rage both of our creatures. I think that's our only avenue to victory here, so I'm going to go for it. I guess I'll start with Gitaxian Probe. Alright, so our opponent has nothing that they can do about it in hand. So unless they draw something off the star, we can win if we draw Battle Rage in the top 3. Alright, so we missed once. Come on, Battle Rage. Okay. Gitaxian Probe gives us another draw. Another Gitaxian Probe gives us another draw. We might just actually be able to do this without another Temur Battle Rage if we get enough activations. A Lightning Bolt. So now I have to think a lot about what we can do here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Preordain. Since I can replay a land, if I find a Temur Battle Rage this way, this also works. Okay, there's the Temur Battle Rage. Bottom, top. Okay, so we got lucky here. We'll play our island, I suppose. Doesn't really matter. We'll Temur Battle Rage the Kiln Fiend. And now we have 3 attacks for 19 coming over. Our opponent's choosing Kiln Fiend. So now we have 2 attacks for 19 coming over. And our opponent chooses Nivik Cyclops. So unless Magic Online is bugged, and this doesn't work the way I want it to, the next time it would deal damage. Okay, it should only prevent the first strike damage. It should not prevent the next bit of damage. So now we're going to give Double Strike to the Cyclops as well. And we are going to win. As we attack our opponent through Circle of Protection without Flaring Pain on turn 5 when they were going to have Tron next turn. Oh, for 44 damage, by the way. Which would be 88 damage if they didn't have the Circle. Awesome. That was awesome. Alright, we take down our first win. Through a Circle of Protection red. Yes, I'm not going to stop saying that. That was awesome. And we are on to the next game.